all into it because, that's not what my channel's about. But paranormal investigation is something technically I've always loved because I don't know why, really.
Because we're fascinated with spirits,
That's it. Yeah, that's it. I just have to be, because of the land I live on, which some people know, so I do have to be careful with that. either I have to be careful with that, or I have to be careful with not being bothered as well. So
my major thing is history. I love learning history and events of it.
And when you connect with that's why I love ancestors, which I know Brightfoot's not in here, and we talk about it, and it happens all the time. Like, I will connect, and then I've got to validate. So I've got this one section of that involves you and your 10th great grandmother. So, like, I'm like, okay, I got to talk to her. Like, I'm surprised I haven't called you yet.
So we related somewhere down the line too?
I don't know, but there's something going on. I don't think it's a blood thing. I think it's a spiritual thing.
Okay.
That's what I'm getting. So, which would make sense. Again, Oblivion ended up being my cousin. Connection that we got to check into. Like, there's a lot. The universe is literally, the veil is so freaking thin that it's literally bringing us together.
Yes, agreed.
It very, very, very. Dawn,
ma'am.
Don't we have something like that? I got a dream to talk to you about. That's right. We might be down the line too, shoot.
Well, I've been looking at my, the stack of paperwork that I have. It's older. I have a digital copy that's updated. Of course, I can't find it, but I've been looking, and so far the only thing that I found is there's a gap. 30 witch trials and all the way up to the 1700s.
Wait a minute. Oh my gosh. Okay. Tina had to pause. Okay. Listen, seriously, the great grandmother that I'm talking about, that I have seen and connected with, that I've got to talk to Tina about, has to do with the Salem witch trials. Now, we all know we just did the Salem witch trial tour. Katie, you were in here. So when she gave me the information later, and I'm like, Tina, like, I'm steadily my monkey mind, but it just, and then I knew there was something I was going to talk to you about. She passed away in Virginia. The one I have found on Ancestry, and you just said Virginia. There's a gap.
Yes, there's, I've got to get, I can't remember.
So that could all be, you see what I'm saying? That's wild.
Yeah, because there's a couple where it lists the county, and then a couple that list the city in Virginia. So that's what I've been meaning to get together to find out if you know.
But you also got to remember, Ancestry is amazing in every way, but when you throw your abilities in the mix of it, it's just validation and proof that our ancestors are with us. We know that.
Absolutely.
It just adds to that. But that's what I'm doing. I'm adding my grandparents, and then that way I can take my subscription off. And then just do because I have found, or they have found me, family members, cousins, my father's brothers, children they didn't know anything about. Like, I've been doing this. It's just that, like I always say, in my room you get the more, and that's just my verbiage. The more, when yes, my DNA, yes, Shay, yes. Actually, I've got some. If I don't slow my brain down, I'll get to, because it's just so fascinating. I'm just very passionate about it.
That's why it's so easy to get trapped in rabbit holes for us, because once we get that little nugget of information, we want to go for the whole pace, the whole mother load. We don't want to stop at that one gold nugget.
See where exactly. Like I always say, the more, trying to wear you out. Many ancestors have come through. If you go to my folders, you'll see mediumship readings where, like, one day a reader was in the box with me and said that this lady said she needed to talk to me, but that's because I do ancestors, and it does come back around. And can be validated by dates and facts, and I mean, it does end up getting validated. But that's why we don't do that kind of thing on live, unless it's us chit chatting, of course. But it's we gotta be careful. But every single one of your loved ones has showed me a different heaven, and they're freaking amazing. I've actually designed a few of them, and I'm fixing to make it even better but it took about a year for me to figure out every one of these visions have one thing in common, and that is the looking glass, which technically the veil, right? But I've been with people during hospice and things like that, and I track back what they had told me. So
the reason people seeing these things is neurological. Like it doesn't discuss the
Spiritual.
the spiritual, the supernatural part of it. It's mainly focusing what chemistry point of it, not the actual spiritualist point of
Okay,
it.
well, let me ask y'all this, and this is a question, of course. No matter what is ever said in my life, respect and just respect each other. That's it. So I know a lot of people. We've actually talked about it. So most of you know. I know Tina and Dom do. What I experienced during my NDE, right? Am I right?
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
But I've been wondering about this. Everybody, like I said, I've thousands and thousands of those on the other side. I've seen, but nothing close to that ever. They've had to think about it or, trying to decide if they were going to cross over, things like that. But they've all showed me this beautiful place in heaven. And I go back to all of those that have been on hospice that I have been with, and there's a few that told me exactly what they were seeing. Like, I'll just give you an example. I know I use my mom, but she's my last. I was the only person she could tell what she was singing, right? And she knew that. She never lost her mind. So she would tell me, and there were a few things. There were some people, like my daddy or whoever, and I explained that to her. But then she started saying that she was seeing God. Now, let me explain. The way I was raised, you never see God. Again, the religion I was raised in, all right? So you don't see God, you only talk to Jesus, just like I never heard of a guardian angel until I was a teenager. So I want to make that clear. But she was talking about, I'm saying God, and I'm like, well, Mama, I thought, I'm not, and she's like, I'm seeing God. So that was, and my family still are like, oh, no, she was not mistaken. She knows who she was saying.
Absolutely.
Plus she was saying my mama, her daddy, her mama, and she didn't know who the other guy was, which I know now was my uncle that passed when she was very, very little, about 6 years old. So she didn't know what he looked like she couldn't remember. But then I have, like my mother-in-law. She was watching things, on the ceiling, and finally my sister-in-law finally went over to her and said, will you tell Lucy what you're seeing? And she shook her head, yes. So I went over and talked to her, and she was seeing angels. And I want to know why. Like, I need somebody to help me. Seriously, guys. Like, because I started thinking about it. I saw all this through a window. I was in the ambulance, and I don't know what happened there, but according to my mother, they had to cover the window on the back of the ambulance.
Uh-huh. Oh, wow.
And that's what she told me. So I started thinking, you got mirrors, I don't want to scare nobody. There's nothing to be scared of. But I started thinking about this recently, and y'all are perfect people to ask about it. Your opinion. What'd you think?
Well, I gave you my opinion that day when we were talking about it on that video chat. And I think, me personally, I think what you were shown in that particular moment was something that maybe it was to scare you to make good with the second chance you were getting ready to be given. If that makes sense.
I very much. That makes total sense. But yeah.
Yeah, that does.
What about you, Tina? Is that all you?
I would agree with that. Sometimes they show you things to change your perspective on the outlook of the way things are. Absolutely.
Katie, your opinion? I mean, thousands. Like, I don't understand. Yeah. So I'm just wondering. This is part of my journey.
I would say the same, especially the perspective. I think more or less to get you on the path you are now. Since
Were you
obviously you like healed from your illness, like fully remission. Right. So obviously there's a bigger plan for you.
Oh yeah.
So
absolutely. So
how to get you there first on track.
Were you already on your spiritual journey at that time, or is that when you started your spiritual journey?
Well, I've seen spirits my whole life. So
well, no, but to actually deep dive into the spiritual part of everything.
Maybe. I'm going to say no, but I actually overdosed on the first birthday of my son, which is also the day he passed away. That night, I didn't do it on purpose. Like, I didn't care. But it wasn't purposeful, but I didn't.
It was more reckless behavior.
Yeah. At that point,
usually always is.
I buried 2 children in 1 year. I was in my own personal, AG double, you know what I'm saying? So I was already so yeah, I'm very curious about that because I've talked to so many loved ones. Every other loved one that I've talked to is in a beautiful place and happy and just.
So I was wondering if that's what happened because kind of when I went down a kind of a dark road is when I started my spiritual journey. So that's why I asked if that's when it really started.
I'm assuming, but I was so out of it. Now that night I did see my children in spirit and that's when I really felt bad, but I won't go into that. That's just mom